I am very, very sure that employers of labor are not the best fans of June. Why, if you ask me? There's so much holiday, and that is why this holiday edition is proudly sponsored by Abraham or Ibrahim, like the Muslims will call him, and his son. So yes, that is the holiday we are celebrating this season. That is a holiday of Eid Kabir, and we call it Ilea down here. It comes with a lot and a lot of things. Comes with drama. When I say drama, if growing up, when I used to be in Ibadan, we used to have this ram race or ram wrestling. Ram wrestling right there. We used to have, or always used to have, the Ojudoyoba that comes 2 days after Salah and a day before the second day of the public holiday, which is today. And of course, there's the Eid, the pictures from the Eid ground and everything. And most importantly, for people that are both Muslims and those of us that are not Muslims, the fact that there's always meat in surplus, very, very abundant. And for everyone who has missed us from the last edition of the Gliders, welcome to this edition. The last time we were here was the Champions League final, where we had the game between PSG and Inter Milan. We went on break on, like I said, holidays plenty. Went on break first day, I think second day of June. This week now we've had 2 public holidays, one of which we're talking today, and of course there'll be a public holiday later on this week. But in sports, there's no holiday because things went on happening in the world of sports, and it's going to continue to happen this week, in which we're going to talk about. But like I always like to say, because I like money for hand, back for ground. This is not ram wrestling like we had over the weekend. I'm sure that there was ram wrestling in different places. In fact, if you're on Twitter, you would have seen human versus cow wrestling. That also happened. But this time around, we want to talk about the money in the bank wrestling, because our wrestling enthusiast is in the studios. And how was your weekend? How was money in the bank for you, Emmanuel?
Well, the weekend was fantastic. Good to be here again on the show. I mean, first of all, I must say shout out to the Muslims out there over the weekend. Anywhere you turn,
you guys, when I turn up,
when I show workings, anywhere you turn, there's one ram being slaughtered. There's one cow, 2 cows being slaughtered. I mean, you guys, man. Money no day, but people they keep cows. It was really like, I was really happy to see that, but did not reach my side. I missed one of my friends who always.
You didn't get me.
Yeah, who always turns up for me. But I mean, that's by the way. But the weekend was packed. Another pay-per-view in the World Wrestling Entertainment franchise, WWE Money in the Bank. I mean, it was fantastic as well. I mean, preamble to what to expect in subsequent pay-per-views. The standout result on the night for me was Naomi getting the limelight as well. I mean, she's been in this industry for years. Like, she's not had that real opportunity to have a go at the title, standing up for Black Americans, making a name for themselves in the WWE. So she clinched down one Money in the Bank, and in case you're wondering what's in that briefcase, it is not money, it's a contract where you get
I used to think it was money.
It's a contract where you have a championship opportunity anywhere to your advantage. So for example, you are in a wrestling bout, you've been fighting for hours, and I can just come up from nowhere with my briefcase. I want to cash in
even after a very tough fight. I know
exactly, that's the advantage you have winning that Money in the Bank contract. So Naomi has a chance, and for every athlete, for every wrestler rather, who's won it, they've successfully went on to become champions, because you always have the advantage. So yeah, shout out to Naomi for winning that one. Then in the male category, Seth Rollins won it for the second time. I mean, Seth Rollins, the poster boy of WWE, if you ask me, a favorite of Triple H. I mean, the architect of the Shield, if you follow WWE very well. And it's looking like he's creating a Shield 2.0 with the assistance of Paul Heyman. Now he's got Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed on his side, who did him a favor in this ladder match at Money in the Bank. So good to see Seth Rollins winning that one. So we wait to see what will come out in WWE Money in the Bank after the next pay-per-views. We have King and Queens of the Ring to come up next. Then after that, WWE Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. So, interesting times for WWE. I mean, the scripting, the plans ahead. I mean, talking about Money in the Bank, one of the scripting that stood out for me was the return of Ron Killings, Our Truth, which we all know. Before Money in the Bank, he was let go, his contract was up, and a lot of WWE fans were
Truth is the guy with the dread. No?
Yeah, the guy with the dread. Yeah, he's like, a lot of WWE fans.
The Truth will set you free.
They were sad to see him go. Like, it was so surprising. Like, this is the life of the industry, the entertainment of the industry. He knows how to play around. He knows how to clown around. But at Money in the Bank, his idol John Cena, he screwed John Cena on the night, and at the end of the day, he
How
aided.
did you manage to see him?
I mean, he came into the ring during the fight.
Don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me.
I saw what you did there, but let me just go on. But you know, he came during the fight with the max, and a lot of people were surprised. Who the hell is this? Who could this be? Then when he unveiled himself, it was our truth. So that tells you one thing.
Always an entertaining person.
Exactly. So maybe WWE saw the cry of the fans and they decided to bring him back. So in the post show of Money in the Bank, Triple H was asked, what's the whole idea behind Our Truth? He gave a short response. You're enjoying the show, keep on enjoying the show. That was what he said. He didn't say if he's been brought back, but we wait to see. Monday Night Raw is coming. We wait to see what is going to happen. But Money in the Bank was fantastic. WWE fantastic. We can't wait to see what the next pay-per-view will bring.
Of course, entertainment, that's what entertainment. I mean, when you're asked a question and you're giving such a response, you want people to continue to talk about it.
Exactly, yeah.
And that is why it is called the WWE, because it brings not just the wrestling, but it brings maximum entertainment, and that's what wrestling is all about. So yeah, I mean, so much fun for lovers of wrestling. I know that we have fans who love wrestling, because the last time we talked about wrestling on the show, a lot of you were in the comments talking about it, giving us your opinions. So we know that you love it, and that's why we'll bring it to you, because yes, this is the Gliders, and we talk about everything that concerns sports. Now, to the next person I'll be going through on the round table, because it's a round table, is a person that used to say he's young, he dresses young, acts young, but I don't know if he's young. I don't think he's young. The youngin who likes youngins too, act youngin, follows youngin, is in charge of a youngin team. Everything youngin.
Are you young, John?
Keeps me on my 10 toes, so maybe yes. That is the person that we're going next to, and that is Mikolo, who I'm sure had a very, very interesting week. Like I said, because we're not here for like 8 days now, I'm sure that everyone has stories piled up of how they have spent their entire week. So yes, I'll go to Mikolo. How was your week? How was your week football wise? How was your week in sports generally?
Up until when you mentioned Mikolo, I didn't know it was me you were talking about. He said, the point where you said loves youngins, please, we need to clarify that. But I agree with the part where you said keep your 10 toes. I mean, that one is that's cool.
No, when you ask if you are young, John, I mean now.
But I'm actually young. Don't mislead the viewers. I'm very young, quite young actually.
I thought you say you're an old soul.
In a young body. Old soul in a young body. I can still play on that 23. I can join the dream team. I can't even lie. I'll play. But yeah, it was
as a senior player, right?
As what?
As a senior player, you know,
if they pick the top 3 extras to add, me I'm part normal young guy. How would you think I am? But yeah, it was a very nice week. Meatful week. Gave and received meats, and there's a lot of meat flying around.
Alhamdulillah. That's all I would say.
I'm very sure God will be proud of the meat that went around this weekend in Nigeria. But yeah, there was a lot of meat. It was really nice. Cool weekend. Still reeling in the euphoria of Timothy getting some sticks here and there.
I mean,
but yeah, it was really nice.
If you want to say many things that happened, sorry for cutting you short. Your guy Turam watched again as his team was conceding 5 at a point. So it looked like now 5-5.
The very funny thing, did you guys see the video in the dressing room? The video in the dressing room where Dembele was sitting beside him, and Turam was like, yo, this guy is slapping 5 because the guys they do camaraderie for national team. But yeah, it was a really nice weekend, save for some drama that happened with Sporting Lagos in their last game of the NNL season against Solution. It was really chaotic. A whole lot of emotions packed into 1 minute. Sporting Lagos looked to be in prime position to still try to make playoffs. Scored in the 90 plus 4th minute against Solution FC in Anambra, and then they equalized almost immediately. I'm very sure so many people have been disappointed at what happened, but eventually I feel like I had the last laugh over the weekend, because the Idolo, the greatest of all time, Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro Ronaldo, won another title with Darling Portugal, and well deserved. Scored 8 goals in 9 games at 40 years old.
It's quite emotional.
That's really phenomenal for Cristiano. And then also there's like a picture. There's like 2 pictures that actually define yesterday for me. The first one was the picture of Cristiano and Yamal in the same frame, and there's 23 years between these guys. That's to show you what longevity means for Cristiano Ronaldo, for someone that has done it way before Yamal was even born, and are still doing it now that guy Yamal is set to be the future, is set to be the next best thing in football, and Ronaldo still scoring on the night when Yamal is supposed to be the star man. Shows you how great this man is. That's the first one. The second one was I saw a picture from the stands where a man was carrying his youngin on his shoulder. A probably boy is like probably 4 years old, and he was wearing a Ronaldo shirt, and on the screen is Ronaldo scoring. That is aura secured for the next 10-20 years for Cristiano Ronaldo.
They farm that one.
Do you understand? They farm is secured the next set of Ronaldo stands. If Mikolo says he wants to retire today, the next set of people that are going to be defending Ronaldo for the next 10-20 years are already secured. I watched the game with my cousins as well. People of less than 10 years, and they were really chanting Ronaldo, and I'm like, yes, I'm a fulfilled uncle. I mean, I didn't feel them. You have to carry on the mission. But yeah, congratulations to Ronaldo and Portugal. Aside that, it was a really nice weekend.
Awesome. I mean, he says we should have moved on from it, but I don't know. I don't know. How was it happened on Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, and we went on a break between then and now. How has it been? How have you been coping? Ekoro Champions League. How have you been coping? How have you been able to cope between then and now with your friends?
First question, have you healed?
Why not?
You will
not be here.
You were here when they beat you now, so this can be like your coping place.
I've actually healed. I've healed because although it was painful, because prior to the Barcelona game, I had a band with one of my friends. Shout out to him, Triples. It was a Barcelona fan, so it was like, Barcelona go beat us 4-0. Kiniko. I was not like, the thing about receipts they good. I don't say how you want to score Inter 4. So on that final day, it just that message just say PSG 2-5. So it was like I felt like, bro, you said they cook. Well, I have moved on, and then but still, my WhatsApp, they just the buzz. People just they tag me. Someone was like, we'll do 1 week anniversary, we'll do 1 month anniversary, 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. But of course, I've moved on. Many things have happened. Simone Inzaghi has moved to Al Hilal. Christian Chivu, former Nerazzurri, is coming in to manage the side. They wanted Fabregas so bad, and of course, I would have been happy if it was Fabregas because I follow Como a lot, and the things he cooks at Como is really interesting. But of course, Chivo Apama has also tried his best, and of course he's a former Nerazzurri, so maybe it's also not a bad signing. But Como, we're not going to let go of Fabregas. Their president was also forming a Aurelio De Laurentiis kind of president, where it's mafia kind of thing. So, but of course, the way he has handled the team, got the team promoted, moved the team. Como did not struggle to stay in the Serie A. They finished in a very, very comfortable position. AC Milan were just few points of what they finished. So it was not a case of we struggled to stay up. They finished in the top 10 of the Serie A, so that's like a very decent thing. You expect that they want to keep that kind of manager for progress. And what else? I had my uncle. One of my uncles became a chief in Ota Bashorun kind of thing. So it's just been that week of party. Then Ilea came. I'm a very, very big fan of meat. I like big meats.
Wow. Big meat is the right.
I like meat. I don't eat
big meat is the right.
When I want to eat my meat. When I want to eat my meat, I like it very, very big, and it was really interesting.
Straight or
he's talking about beef.
Meat now, which one is
beef? Is it boiled or grilled or
beef?
Kind of
Beef, it can be beef, which is cow. Mutton, which can be ram.
I like it fried. I like it succulent and all that. Soft meat. You know all those meats when it go stress you.
Not fully done.
No, not meat that when you're eating, your teeth no go to pain you. That kind of thing. So that's the kind of
meat that goes into the mouth. No problem.
Are we talking about?
Just have to clarify.
No. I'm not going to talk.
Now I'm talking meat. Now I'm saying beef.
I don't know why I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's meat now. No problem.
So that was basically
young man.
Then
Nigeria
actually played was not the best of games, but
on Friday,
I did some very, very beautiful scenes from it.
Well, we've not been here since we won the Unity Cup now.
Yeah, we actually
have. The final was the
we've watched the finals here before they started the Champions League. Right. So yes, it was after that.
Yeah, so
put your trophy on the table.
Then where your own?
Where Ghana owns. I want to join us.
Sorry, what is that name again from last season?
Oyogbade.
But
wait, if you win Club World Cup, so it's not.
Are you going there?
Are you putting?
Are you?
No, I'm not.
Are you speaking on that?
Producer go record this one.
Are you taking bet WGB? Should we lock it in?
Possibility now. Once you are contending, there's a possibility that
If you have hope, you can use your salary now in advance.
There's a possibility. No, I'm not actually confident that we. I feel like this is just going to be a no. Now I think this is going to be a test period for Chivu to know the kind of players he's going to use for next season. So this is what the Club World Cup will be for him. He's coming in as a new manager. He's going to test. Okay, these are the players I'll use. Luckily for him, he had a chance to progress. The group is not so hard. I'm not sure there's any European team. I think they're just like very, very lesser teams from the group in which Inter Milan. So maybe he has a chance for progressing to actually see how much he can build the team. But in terms of going far, imagine say we go meet PSG again.
PTSD.
and he talked about the Nigerian game. I mean, one sad point for me, for many of us that watched that game on free to air, it was without commentaries. I was supposed to be the one on commentary. I was reached out to by Afro Sports to come do commentary at their studios, but at the end of the day, some technical issues. The game was aired without commentary, so we'll keep waiting for the next opportunity that will come.
The debut will come.
Of course.
So it's only a matter of time.
So.
Yeah.
Only a matter of time.
And of course, that shows that, I mean, where you're always getting wins, you also have to make rooms for disappointment and you bounce from it. Yeah, of course, we're sure that will come sooner rather than later.
Joy 2025.
Sooner rather than later. I didn't say sooner or later. Sooner rather than later, because I like to be really optimistic. Some people call me delusionally optimistic. So yes, I am very, very sure that's coming very, very soon. I mean, we have other windows this year for the Super Eagles. So yeah, looking forward to that particular time. If you ask me how my own week went, I mean, a lot of.
Did you have meat? Did you get meat?
She be like, person who will get meat.
You got meat in abundance.
I mean, meat surplus. And shout out to the Muslims. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Ibrahim for trying to kill his son. It's the reason we had
that kind of holiday,
man. You guys turned up. And yes, to everyone that gave me Leia, shout out to you. And thank you to the Jebus for putting on a show. I always look forward to it. Right from when I was in school, I've not been able to go. I've been saying I will go since when I was in school, because many of my friends were Jebu people. I didn't go because I was tired from Saturday. I attended the wedding. Guys, I told you guys during our last show that it's my Oble season. I've been Obling. You asked about my week. My week was Oble.
Yeah, congratulations to Favor.
Congratulations to a colleague, Favor Twa, who got married on Saturday, and then of course the industry turned up for him, and I went to present the gliders. Thank you very much. Nice. And I turned up.
And she slayed, guys.
Yeah, I slayed, guys. You can get pictures on social media. But yes, and then Oble, like I said, this is the summer. Please, off season, I'm doing Oble, and I was doing that from the beginning of the week to the end. Just like to call me Minister of Enjoyment, Intercontinental, Monumental. We go live forever. Me and you on this show. So yes, it was a blissful week for me. I was on commentary for that game on another platform. Yes, but I was commentary for that game for the Super Eagles of Nigeria against the Russians. So it was really good to see that stadium again after the World Cup finals in 2018, Luzhniki Stadium. So yes, so much happened over the week, and I am grateful for everything. I am grateful to be back to your screen. I missed you guys Monday. I woke up on Monday. Usually, when you're used to a routine and you wake up and you feel like something is different. I woke up. I had work to do. I was working remotely. I just felt like, that's true. I'm not going to the studios today. You usually have to run from Abeokuta to all of that. So yeah, on Monday you guys, I'm back now, and we have a lot for you guys. We're talking about holidays and holidays. Talk about how employers of labor do not like a month like June, because how many holidays already we have had two already. There's going to be another one this week, because June Democracy 12th. Day is on June the 12th, so it's another public holiday. And if there's another holiday that can come, we don't mind. I'm sure that we don't
bring.
So yes, while we talk about all those holidays, sports never stop. There's always something happening in sports. Yesterday, while we were jumping from the longest Roland Garros final ever, so having the Nations League final that had a lot at stake when it comes, when I mean a lot at stake, I mean not just on the pitch but off the pitch, because there's going to be so much conversations that continues from that particular one. There's also going to be the Club World Cup, which is going to be what we're going to touchlight first on the show. The Club World Cup will be starting this week. The newly reinvented, reformat, money bagged, money packed,
refinanced.
Jesus, everything that Club World Cup is starting this particular time. And for the first time in a long time, I don't think I've ever witnessed the Club World Cup played outside the regular season. It is currently being played at the end of a season now. So we're going to be having that in the United States, which is kind of maybe a test run for FIFA ahead of the World Cup that will be coming up in 2026. So yes, there's so much talk about it, and of course we're having new style to it. We're having teams who are not champions of their continent. Remember, that is usually the champions of the 7 continents that get to play it, but this time around we're having people based on the new style, the new design, with FIFA. And right now we're going to have teams like Chelsea, who have very good coefficients from their 2021 win. We'll also be participating. We have Inter Milan, who will be playing to, despite their 5-0, they are somehow there to find themselves there. So yes, so much to
redemption
talk about.
Time.
Oh please. Well, all of that is what we're going to be touching on, and I will start with Emmanuel. I want to talk about the for me, looking at how this whole coefficient thing came about, at the new style. Do you think it's something that we should be looking forward to seeing in other years, or do you think that we should just try this and next time we go back? Because this time around, some people will be saying, okay, why is a team like Inter Milan, why is a team as Chelsea getting to play? And we have like 4 representatives from Africa that will be playing in this particular edition. When do you think we would ever, because it's a coefficient thing, and seeing that we are always struggling to actually retain our coefficients, and then of course get 4 representatives to represent us from Nigeria on the continent, end up not most of times not getting to the group stage of the last team to get to the group stage of the Champions League from Nigeria, I think was in
Rivers United when the Confederations Cup.
No, that's Confederations Cup. I'm talking Champions League. So
Yeah.
that's some of the things that affect our coefficients, and all of that talk. We have 4 teams coming from Africa. When do you think if we continue that style, when do you think we'll ever get a Nigerian in that place? Do you think it's possible for us to get it in the nearest future? And how do you think this whole new format feels on you? Does it rub up on you positively? Do you think it's something you want to continue to see?
We love innovations. We saw the Champions League that was just concluded, a new format.
Mm-hmm.
So when something new is about to happen, you are always excited, you are always anticipating, and that is that's the feeling this FIFA World Cup brings. The new expanded version. The previous editions where we just saw the Champions League winner go play during December, January, play 2-3 games, you're in the
semi-finals, and if you win, you go to the final.
This time it's like a proper tournament, teams divided into groups. And credit to the African teams who've made it through. These are the big guns in Africa, the Al Ahly, Esperance of Tunisia, Wydad AC, and Mamelodi Sundowns in South Africa as well.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about Nigerian teams making it that far. It's a process. First you have to conquer first you have to conquer your league, then make it past the preliminary rounds, at times 2 preliminary rounds before you get to the group stage proper. So it's been a while we had teams make it that far from the NPFL, so it's going to take a whole lot, because these African teams, our rivals, if you want to put it that way, they keep on improving, they keep on expanding, showing their dominance in Africa. We saw an Egyptian team also win the CAF Champions League recently as well, so Pyramids, if I'm not mistaken. So these, they've already qualified for the next edition, if you want to look at it, because it's every 4 years. So winners in the previous 4 years, we get to qualify. So it's a long journey for African teams, but it's something we want to see in the future, if there's a possibility it happens, because it's going to be difficult. But the tournament in general, I like the fact that teams will converge in a particular country to play this tournament. No much traveling around, and the innovations FIFA has put in place for the tournament is something you are chomping at the bit to see. Referees putting on body cams and the likes. We can't wait to see what this one will be. And teams from different confederations participating, CONMEBOL, AFC, UEFA, CAF, coming together to participate for the prize is always a delight. Credit to Infantino for putting this together. And it's every 4 years. I like the fact that it's every 4 years. It's not something you get to see every year, every now and
so
then,
you
because
don't get tired of it.
You don't get tired of it as well. Just like like the World Cup, where every 4 years it happens. So I can't wait to see what the FIFA World Cup will bring. How be the timing from this part of the world where we are, some of the games are late in the night. So
I think it's to purpose for the World Cup that will be happening in the Americans, the North Americans actually. So yes.
Yeah. So that's just it. I can't wait to see what the FIFA World Cup brings. Keenly looking forward to it. My team is not there, but I'll watch and enjoy.
I mean, looking forward to what it brings. Looking forward to the drama and everything. I'll come to Timothy on the financial aspects of the Club World Cup. I mean, I've heard that they are backed by money bags. Any idea this money bags? What do you think this new money bags will be bringing to the financial aspects of the new redesigned Club World Cup format?
Yeah, on Thursday, Infantino and FIFA announced that Infantino announced that PIF has partnered them in terms of sponsorship, and they'll be the major sponsor of the event. So we expect that they'll be bringing in a lot of money, although there is a fixed price. They say it's a $1 billion money pot. And UEFA, of course, will get the larger share in terms of what will be shared. But I think this partnership or sponsorship is going to be for the longer term in terms of what FIFA wants. And if you have in assets, the value for PIF is about $925 billion. And in a few years, you expect that they will eat the trillion part of it. So it means that you are getting backed.
That's some crazy money.
Yeah,
crazy
like the money plenty. So you are getting backed by a very, very giant, like Joy had said. So and in terms of the broadcast part of it also, they signed a deal with DAZN and TNT Sports to actually broadcast this game. So you see that the packaging for everything is nice. But where there probably may be issues is the ticketing. Maybe fans have really not seen what they need to put into, okay, let's buy the ticket for this game.
How much did the tickets cost?
For different games, but for the opening game, which was $300 and something when they sold it. Yeah, I think the game between Inter Miami and Al Ahly, yes, and it was initially $300 and something. Do you think it was influenced by the fact that they were thinking that Ronaldo and Messi are going to be playing the game? Yeah, maybe some people have raised that opinion that, okay, they probably thought that it was, since Messi, Inter Miami was going to sell out. But recently they dropped it to $55 because people were not actually patronizing.
That goat does not have the juice.
Nicolo, calm down.
But why? Is it that, I mean, we're talking about the financial aspect with you now. Is it that people are not being able to buy, or because of the venue in which they carried it? Do you think that if they carried it to Europe, it will sell?
Yeah, I think
against the Americans who are more into American football and basketball.
Yeah, that's a point, sir. Even Americans themselves, they've really not been able to put themselves into this competition. It's going to be hard for FIFA to actually see them put themselves into the competition, and maybe when they get into the later stages, when they get to see that it's becoming interesting, FIFA would hope that bigger teams, where there will be bigger games, the PSGs, Man Cities, the Real Madrid, Inter Milan, stuff like that, the Chelsea versus PSG kind of matchup, where you expect to see
big match.
I mean, in terms of
champions of champions, their continent. So yeah,
no.
You said you're hoping that the big teams make it to the latter stages. Who is coming to watch Madueke? I don't understand. That's going to be watching Jackson.
No, Nicolo, it's a big game. Whatever.
If you're talking about big teams, you can see Man City, Ireland, even Inter Miami. Don't say Chelsea. What is Chelsea? Who was you? If Chelsea come and play in Onikon Stadium, would they sell out? For Madueke, now.
Well, the club is actually big, and the owner of the club or the chairman of the club is also even an American.
Yeah,
so you expect that kind of connection to come in. Maybe that can be a factor, because we know the United States people, they are not really a fan of football itself, and basketball is their fault, or the NFL. So that's a factor. FIFA are praying and hoping that this competition goes well, because if it doesn't go well, of course they already have the finances, but you want the first edition, I mean, to be something that would make people to say, okay, we can
come back for the next one.
So, and on the part of you asking Emmanuel about Nigerians, I mean, I was telling Emmanuel off air, before we came on air, I was telling him that in the next 50 years, Nigeria may not have a representative. And this is not me trying to be sarcastic or funny. It's a 4-year tournament. If you calculate,
50 not too much.
I mean, if you are calculating a 4-year tournament in terms of 4 times 12 is
48.
4 times 12 is 48. So that's like what we are talking about, 12 editions.
Yeah.
Can we really get Nigerian teams
to win the Champions League in that time?
I mean, so it's a case of, and you have to consistently do it. We don't even have teams that qualify for group stages.
Not to mention
when having to get into the
preliminary round,
CAF Champions League final and all that. So it's really going to be difficult. That's a prediction. Nigerian teams can do well, and even in terms of coefficient for what we want to even do in CAF, we are still struggling
to keep our numbers.
We are always praying for someone to.
We're in a place where if we don't do well in this coming season, we could have our numbers stripped
from 2 from 4.
We are still in that position of trying to keep our CAF number. We cannot be saying, we want to do in terms of FIFA. So that is like a long push. But let's see if in the nearest future we'll get. But I mean, for me, I'm always that person that wants to see, okay, this is the pattern that I've been following. And if it's a 4-year tournament thing, something
he's being realistic actually, because you just don't go and think. Coefficient is like over a period of time. So we are still struggling with our own period of time in the NPFL. Going to the continent now, not to now mention consistently winning over a period of time. Qualifying alone, we are struggling to keep our coefficient over a period of time. Now, not to now mention winning over a period of time to get our coefficient to go to the Club World Cup. So it's really a long ask, and I don't think it's happening anytime soon. No, this is not trying to be negative or being pessimistic. It's being realistic, to be honest, because it is something you have to is work over a period of time, and we've never started the work yet. Not to mention getting there, so it's really difficult for us. Hopefully we can start the work and get better in the next 10-20 years. Hopefully
looking forward to that happening, because I mean, as a fan of the Nigerian league, I mean, I cannot wait to experience it in adulthood. I mean, when Aimba was ruling the continent back then, I was still very much I'm just a baby. So yes, I didn't leave that. I mean, we still ride on that glory, because the AFL that happened with CAF, we still had Aimba ride on that past glory from
that's another issue that we have. Another issue that we have is that we always look forward to individual brilliance of the teams to put us on the map when it comes to continent of Africa. Do you understand? So during the days of Enyimba winning that, it was due to their management structure, their chairman INC and all of the
then the kind of players
that they had. It wasn't really due to the quality of the Nigerian league. Do you understand? So it wasn't really due to the NFF put something in place to make sure that our league was competitive enough, or the LMC or whoever was in charge of the league did something that was very obvious to this thing. See, we've
which
seen,
you see with other leagues like South African League and all of that.
The conversation we had on the episode where you said, have we been left behind? And because
I mean, if our champion is struggling to beat teams from Lesotho, if we are struggling to beat teams from Ghana, do you understand? So it's a reflection on the quality of what we are doing in the league. It's not rocket science. So we can't continue relying on Rivers United tried to do, they don't buy 10 players and then they eventually get to the group stage of the Confederations Cup, and because of that you now take the glory and say we at the NPFL we got to the group stage. No,
then 12 paragraph press release
you understand, now and start supporting Rivers United. What job, even their fixtures, you didn't even help with their fixtures. Do you understand? So these are some of the things you see. People even traveling. Enyimba got stranded at a point, they had to travel in batches. What are we doing to help our representative on the continent of Africa? So it's not just about saying Enyimba is doing this, Rivers United are doing that. I can't forget, we even skip the fact that Enyimba guy, they traveling in batches. A football team.
Not just football team, the most successful Nigerian team.
What is our embassy doing? What is the country? What is the value of our passport worth? That a team that is representing us on the continent is traveling in batches. So it's one of these things where there's a lot we are still struggling to get right.
I mean, you talk about teams struggling against South African teams. Rangers struggled against a team from Comoros. The two legs played in Nigeria. Played in Nigeria. And these are our former champions before Remo Stars became champions. So a lot needs to be done. I want to see it happen, but I'm not confident to say it's going to happen at a particular time. I'm not going to say 50 years like Timothy, but this is just me being just a little optimistic. But it's just sad to see.
Are we going to make it? Let's watch and see. But I mean, that is for the Club World Cup, as we look forward to the first edition that is designed in this format from FIFA. And still talking about formats and new things. Well, something that eventually has started to like register with people, maybe for the sake of agenda, because I mean they always say agenda now
No
fan,
get
you know, get
papa,
papa, you know, get
At all.
mama, anybody that adopt down. So yes, the Nations League
I was about to
started
say
as
something dark, but I don't want somebody to break down this show.
Say it.
No way.
Is it for me?
it's not. I mean, I know where it's going.
Oh, okay.
I know where it's going. So funny thing
That's my
is,
love, no way.
I understand.
it's something I say myself. Anyways, we have the Nations League now. Something of, made to be something of importance because of a lot of reasons. But that is not why we're talking. We're talking about what eventually happened at the finals. During the week, we had the very, very interesting finals or semi-final game between France and Spain, and that's where I'll start before we get to the final. And I tweeted something after. I said, I don't think I'm comfortable with teams of that caliber, Spain and France, conceding more than 3 goals in a single game, each of them in that same game. And I'm like, is it that I people like to say that I'm someone who is old school in terms of football. I always like to stick with the past, and people are like, okay, now it's more entertaining. It means that I'm just saying, okay, this defense, we used to have France with defenders that when you hear their name, you shiver.
Yeah.
Doesn't take away the fact that they had good attackers, but in a game in which France and Spain are playing, why are we having 9 goals? Why are we having one team concede more than 3 goals in a semi-final? It's not a group stage game, it's a semi-final where you know that all is at stake. Yes, they brought the entertainment. When we had the finals of the World Cup in 2022, we saw a 6-goal failure, but that one we knew that okay, this particular one
there was quality.
There was quality to it. This one, I'm not taking anything away from, but I just felt like it was too easy at a point, and then at a point a particular team became like a discard the defense. So you get what I'm saying, that teams like Spain, I mean, when you look back at 2012, 2008, I remember the teams that used to play at the championship, the European Championship, and then you look at them and look, now yes, you hear the name, it's still the name of that country, and then you are seeing that country concede 4, concede 5. That happened, and then we move over to the finals of that particular one, and then we had maybe a more competitive final or a more competitive game. Not in terms, like I said, the other game eventually turned to something really spectacular, but I did not get the quality of what I was looking for. Just the goals. Apart from the goals, I did not get that quality. It showed the defensive lapses of a lot of the teams, of a lot of teams presently. Not just them. I mean, these are supposed to be the best teams in the world. Spain are the current champions of Europe. Not the Nations League, but I mean Europe. They are European champions. France got to the finals of the last World Cup. Of the last 2 World Cups. Yes, France got there. France were in the semi-finals of the Nations League. So when you look at these teams, I look at the kind of defenses they've built, the kind of systems, not just defense, but I mean, because it's a collective game. Defense, it can be that the midfield broke down, and then of course so much pressure came on the defense, and they started conceding goals, and we could see the goalkeeping department. So for Chelsea that want to buy my game, you guys Kunduz free. So yes, that's for me. And then the finals eventually, guys, my own question to you guys is, do you think that maybe the new kind of, or modern football, I would like to call it, modern football is something that is less in quality? That's my own mindset. Do you agree with me on that the quality is less in terms of the football that they put out right now? Let's leave club football, we're talking national team football right now. Do you think it's less right now compared to, and I feel like it is according to generations, from the set that played the last 2 World Cups, many of them have kind of moved on, many have retired. Now we're having the set of Lamine and Co that will play the next World Cup. Do you think that this particular modern style of football has kind of dropped compared to the old sets, and I mean generation by generation? I'll start with Mikolo.
I don't think so. I just feel like it's the freedom to play. It is the new tactics that people are trying to enforce on the new set of players that is making it. There are still players, there are still coaches that play pragmatic football. There are still coaches that prioritize defensive football. There are still coaches that prioritize you having discipline and having responsibility in post. There are the likes of Arteta that had I know you said just nations football, but there are the likes of Arteta that have not conceded more than 2 goals in the last probably 1 year. So that's still, I think it still boils down to responsibility as a coach. It's not mainly a football thing. I think it is a coach thing. The kind of coaches that we are praising these days, the kind of coaches that we are pushing out these days,
grooming,
that we are grooming these days, the kind of football that we are preaching for people to play these days is the type that allows for defensive fragilities. You see people now wanting to play outside from the back because of Pep Guardiola's style. You see a team, even I think one of the punters said it, that even a team in Championship, a team that is playing in League 3 also wants to start building up from the back because they feel that's the new philosophy of style. Nobody's going the Tony Pulis way of going from Stoke City kind of thing. So everybody wants to express football, and everybody wants to play football, everybody wants to play tiki-taka, everybody wants to match Spain at their home game of what they started from 2008 till date. The likes of Pedri, I'm going from that year to this year in terms of playing football. So I just feel like it's a style thing. It's not a football thing.
It's not a quality thing.
Yeah, there are still coaches that there are still coaches like Jose Mourinho. There are still coaches that feel like there should be a balance like Mikel Arteta. There are still other coaches, save for the embarrassments that eventually came out of the final of the UCL. I feel like Inter were also defensively strong in the UEFA Champions League, except when they faced Barcelona that exposed them. It was also some quality goals in there, and then whatever it is that happened in the PSG final, I can't even explain until now tactically. But even before then, Inter Milan over the last few years have been, a solid team defensively. Even when they had somebody that eventually is now getting exposed at Manchester United, Andre Onana, when he was at Inter Milan, he was really defensively solid. Do you understand? He had a very good defense in front of him, and they kept, they considered minimal goals. So I feel like it's the system in place. There are some teams that just want to, play the style of playing expressive football, give me, I give you kind of thing. And I feel like that's where people are getting it wrong. If you still meet coaches, though they are getting instinct now, you understand, but if there are still coaches that prioritize defensive masterclass, you have to run. You have to keep running. Coaches like Inzaghi, you have to run. Coaches like Mikel Arteta, even your wingers, Bukayo Saka and Martinelli can give you testimony. They have to run, they have to defend, and all those kind of things. So I feel like it's just a coach's thing. I don't think it's an era thing.
Another factor I think is the fact that national team football is different from club football. Because let's look at the game for Spain. The defense that played the semi-final was different from the defense that played the final. So there's always that place of switch. For club football, you already know that it's Gabriel, Saliba, Timber, and probably Miles Lewis Kelly for the maybe 5, 6, 7 games bar any injury. But with national team, today the coach is saying that you probably messed up in the last game, and I'm going to take you out. I want to replace you with Pedro Porro and all of those things. So it's one of those factors that kind of affect. There's no balance. There's no real balance in terms of what happens with national team, in terms of friendlies, national Nations League, whatever. Even Nigeria, the last 3 games we watched, the Unity Cup, semi-final, final, and the game against Russia, I'm not sure we had a consistent lineup in terms of players that started. So is that factor, when you play with the same set of defense, same set of midfielders, there's always that place of gelling together, whether you're defenders, whether you're attackers, whether you're midfielders. So I think that's also a factor.
I think there are still countries that still prioritize defense. The likes of Italy still feel like their style of play.
Because if you're going to call Italy,
they've been conceding. They don't have the quality as much, but I still feel like they are not trying to.
They're not trying to overdo what
they're not trying to play like Spain. There's still an identity that comes with the Italian national team.
They're not trying to do what they cannot do. I understand.
For me, I think this is always going to be subjective, because we've had people who didn't witness the previous era, so have people just witness this era. We have a couple of people who witnessed both and are still witnessing this one. So
like the young man in the studio.
So sometimes one thing is clear. I like the tactical evolutions we can see in football games at this time. Deschamps is the coach of France. He played football in those era you're talking about. If football, the quality has reduced from then and now as well. So he's the manager of this France side, and you're managing a team that conceded 5 goals. So what can you say about that? If you're in the previous era and you're coaching a team that has just conceded 5 in a football game. So, and sometimes these games might just be, one of, not all games you get to see these goals being conceded in a particular game. How many football games?
Well, I think I was looking at it
9
from
goals in the semi-final fixture and stuff like that.
I'm looking at it from even the Champions League final. You guys understand what I'm saying? Not just the national team too, but football. Look at Barcelona and Inter Milan. Why would we be getting that kind of aggregate at the end of a semi-final?
There was a tactical mismatch in that game. You can't lie.
That's what I was talking about. Tactical.
That was the one of
technical news of both managers. I mean, it was Inter Milan.
I'm talking about Barcelona, Inter Milan. I'm not talking about semi-finals.
The scoreline was huge, was disrespectful to Inter Milan, but on the night you could say Inzaghi was outclassed tactically.
I'm not talking about the final. I'm talking about the semi-final because the two teams very good football, and then we're getting about the scoreline.
It was a quality game. Let's not just look at the scoreline.
I think it
was really interesting. So you can't just say because too many goals were in that game and you say maybe the quality of football has reduced or something. I mean, it was end-to-end stuff. Both teams gave it a go. Tried to outdo one.
Those goals, there was no way you could analyze it and say you could pinpoint that okay, this person did not do well. That kind of thing. The Yamal goal, brilliance. The volley from Dumfries, the Rafinha's goal. Like when you try to analyze it a lot, if you are trying to do it, then you are trying to overdo it. I mean, the Fratesi goal, Kubasi put his life on the line just to make that ball not get in, but it still went in. So I think Emmanuel and Mikolo have a point on this one that it just has to be subjective. That one was interesting and
Okay, so right now I'm still a little in my school of thought. I'll take it. Let's see how football is an eternity thing, so we'll continue as on the show. We'll continue to talk about it as eras come, as eras go. But talking about eras, we used to have Ribery said something over the week and talked about the fact he said something in a sarcastic way and said, you have to win the Champions League to be able to win the Ballon d'Or. So the Ballon d'Or has been the conversation since the season ended.
There's a video from yesterday. Did you guys see?
Yeah,
he went out.
Where he actually got maybe the fans were actually trying to.
They were giving immediately Ronaldo scored. Fans started giving him to him back to back. He had to leave the stadium.
Ronaldo?
No, Ribery. He was in the stadium. Yes, I saw the video this morning.
Ronaldo scored. Fans were like attacking his section of the place, like giving it to him back to him, and he just had to leave. Like they were chanting, I think Viva Ronaldo or something.
Yeah, so using that particular thing that started. I mean, the conversation has started already since before the finals of the Champions League, and then of course with we used to say the thing on the table was Rafinha, Yamal, and who else strongly? Dembele. But with Dembele winning the Champions League, it suddenly changed the narrative and everything. But still, I mean, people were trying to push the fact that Yamal did well, this, this, and then people said we should wait until after the finals of the Nations League. Now the Nations League has come and gone. Yamal did not win it. Do you think that we should still wait till maybe after the Club World Cup to determine who outrightly we get to win this? Because PSG obviously will be going to the Club World Cup.
Yes, let me read out something.
For those that actually thought Yamal should win the Ballon d'Or, I don't know. I'm not in the best position, but on what basis
were
they looking to say
Yamal? Because of his performance against Inter Milan.
How?
You don't win Ballon d'Or by performance.
By what performance? I mean, this guy has like probably 9 goals the whole season.
He doesn't have double digits.
So how are you winning?
1 or 2 out to Mukulu.
I'm
not trying to downplay. I'm not trying to downplay. If you watch Barcelona,
Yamal was not better than Mbappe this season.
No, Mukulu, like on numbers, okay, yeah, of course, it has to be numbers, performance. Even the France football, they have this thing. They say individual awards. What they used to disqualify Vinicius last season. I'm trying to remember this thing.
Character, conduct.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I think it was about
that was point yesterday. It was point last year. That's clear robbery.
Yeah, I'm just even saying, okay, they have about 3 or 4 things that they use. And if you talk about Lamine Yamal, he doesn't probably have the numbers, maybe in terms of goals for the league. But if you watch Barcelona play, you know that this is someone that performs.
He's not the best Barcelona player this season.
Or maybe
he's not the best.
He's not.
Yes, he's not the best.
Was the best Barcelona player this season.
No, he was not the best. I can't say he was the best Barcelona player, but of course, in terms of excitement,
La Liga player of the year.
Yeah, in terms of excitement, it was like the most exciting.
What is excitement? Ben Arfa was exciting.
No, because I'm trying to put everything. I'm not saying, of course,
you're just telling me. You're just informing me.
Like you did say, I'm not in support of Yamal also being in that conversation, but I'm not trying to say the things that they put in place, like individual performance, excitement, and all of those things together. So, but I don't think that Yamal should also be in the conversation. I mean, and then the Club World Cup means this is something. The contenders for the 2025 Mount Ballon d'Or considered based on their performances since 1st of August 2024, with 1 more international window fixtures and the Club World Cup before 31st of July 2025. This was a conversation between me and someone yesterday, and I was trying to, because I put something on my WhatsApp status and I was like, Vitia for Ballon d'Or, why? in terms of performance, it's very good. There's trophies to back it up, character-wise. And if PSG win the Nations League, and then they started something last season.
PSG or Portugal.
Portugal already won the.
Rodri won the Ballon d'Or. Why not let them continue what they have started? That was just an agenda kind of thing. But I'm just trying to say that the Club World Cup will be a factor. So when people come out to start crying in September, let them know that these things. You saw what I read. There's an international window in it. The UEFA Nations League has come into international window. When Messi won his 8th Ballon d'Or, I think it was the Copa America that actually made him win it. So let people know these things. Let's not just come out to say, okay, Yamal, because he has played one game, he had a very good game against Inter Milan, he had a very, very good game maybe towards the end of the season and all that. Let people know that this is a factor. The Club World Cup would count in terms of the Ballon d'Or. So you know that he's tilting towards the PSG guys more now. Or Mbappe is also going to play in the Club World Cup with Real Madrid. Barcelona they're not going to play in the Club World Cup.
They are not.
Yeah, so when it probably
their last time winning the Champions League was 2015.
The players, the clubs that will be playing in this, the players that will be playing in this Club World Cup would also determine. So and the Club World Cup will be the end before the next season. And whatever happens between August and September would not count anymore. So from August 1st, 2024 to July 31st, 2025 is
so the new season has not even started when we'll have closed.
Timothy, do you feel like people that are going to be voting will consider Club World Cup? I feel like their minds are already made up right now.
Yeah, that's a factor, chap. But people would watch Club World Cup. You cannot just. I don't know, Shab, but I'm not a voter. I've not voted before.
Another thing that Club World Cup can do is probably recency bias. Because if you perform well in the Club World Cup and let's say they are voting the next week, I feel like it will
actually also rob players from Barcelona, including Rafinha.
And it's always going to be down to, you can't just take it away individual brilliance. Ribéry was throwing shades at Ronaldo when he said, Ronaldo recently said the winner has to be someone who wins the Champions League and stuff like that. So, Ribéry threw that jab and it was like, you have to win the Champions League. When he won it in 2008, Ronaldo was the Ballon d'Or winner. And you can't tell me at that time Ronaldo wasn't deserving. His individual performance that season was fantastic. So it just tells me that you can't, no matter the amount of trophies, you can't just take it away, individual brilliance. Yes, you want to win trophies, but when you perform so well individually, it's also something. So no matter what happens in the Club World Cup, I like you said, mine's already been made up. So you can't just, because of a 1 month interval football event and you want to change my mind that you're going to be a Ballon d'Or winner as well. So individual brilliance is always going to count. So Ribéry should just take a chill.
For Ribéry, this is where the stats from that season. Ballon d'Or 2013. Ribéry 55 games.
2013 or 10?
It was 2013.
Okay, 2013.
It was Snyder and Messi that was 2010. 23 goals, 27 assists, and 1 goal in the Champions League. For Ronaldo, 59 games, 69 goals, 18 assists, and 12 goals in the UEFA Champions League. So whatever Ribéry thinks he did by winning the sextuple,
if he had won it at the time, it would have been deserving. But you can't take it away from Ronaldo what he did that season as well.
Definitely. So
the one that is a clear robbery is the one against Haaland, Messi versus Haaland. I'm never letting that one go because Messi, Haaland had the trophies, he had the numbers. Messi had FIFA.
And not the numbers.
No, not as enough numbers as Haaland.
Well, the consistency in giving out this award is always going to be a debate.
It's always a favorite kind of thing.
Last year was like the end point for everyone. It was something that made people now say, okay.
The last two Ballon d'Ors actually. The last two Ballon d'Ors, the one for Messi over Haaland and the one for Rodri over Vinicius. I feel like that's where we got cooked.
Okay, talking about where maybe trophies might not matter, we'll move quickly to our next topic, and then from there we'll wrap it up with the news from the camp of the Super Eagles, because that was something that was really talked about over the weekend. So we'll start with where trophies might end up not mattering in deciding your future. We'll talk about Ange Postecoglou, who got sacked by Tottenham Hotspur. What do you think about it? Was it, they did poorly in the league, but do you think that should have given him or saved his job? Talking about Ange for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll say outrightly if he should have saved his job, but I know that there's one thing for a team who, in terms of being happy, your fans celebrating a trophy, has not happened for, I think, since 2008. Then you finally get a trophy. It's difficult to actually keep a manager because if you look at what happened, Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur, the saving grace for Ruben Amorim is that Ruben Amorim did not start the season with Manchester United. So there's that excuse for him that, okay, he did not start the season with us and all that. If Ruben Amorim had taken Man United to the summer playoffs, whatever they do pre-season, and Man United finished in this position, I tell you for a fact at this point, the conversation of him leaving would be on the ground, or he would have been sacked already. So for Postecoglou, it's the same thing. Yeah, you have won us a trophy. Let's even, okay, they'll probably decide where Edafi will stay. Okay, they don't want to pay money and all of those things. But in terms of performance, this thing, you played all the teams. I mean, the teams you play next season are still the majority of the teams you play this season. Next season, sorry, the teams you play this season are majority of the teams you play next season. And if you play those teams and you lose 22 games, and the remaining 16 games, you don't win them, it's really bad. And so there's a factor where you say, okay, this manager, yeah, you have won us a trophy, but still we don't think that we can continue in this form, because it's not about just winning us a trophy. It's difficult, like I said, because if you look at the angle where he brought us a trophy, you're supposed to say, okay, guy, you have tried for us, so you did not at least relegate, let's give you one more season. Then if you now mess it up again in the third season, then we can now let you go. But it's kind of harsh, but of course it's still business, and you do not want to put in emotions. For the big part is for Andre Postecoglou. He already has that on his CV. He said it outrightly: in my second season I went in. So anybody that's capping him up now will say,
let's wait till the second season.
So that CV is already enlightened.
I'm not going to sit on the fence. It's a harsh decision. I mean, if you can excuse Amorim with the fact that he didn't start the season, I mean, I won a trophy. It's a greater excuse if you want to look at excuses. Your first European trophy with the club, and you let me go, relieve me of my job. I mean, I was expecting him to get at least a season for winning a trophy. Just, okay, go on for the next season. Not, I mean, yes, he might want to bow out on a high. When the ovation is loud, you leave, you take your leave as well. But I think it's a harsh decision to sack and Postecoglou. I mean, he's won a trophy you've not won for a long time with the club. I mean, the last manager who went close to winning the trophy for you sacked him before the final, and you have a manager who won a trophy for you and you let him go. I mean, if you want to make an excuse for Amorim that he didn't start the season, but I won a trophy that you haven't won in a long time, so why relieve me of my duty? So it's
let's look at
it's also identifies the fact that fans are different from the club, and this is what we've always said all through the season. Fans will always tell you, just get us a trophy and you're having a good season. I don't think it's like that for business owners, and I feel like for us that were also into the sport, we should not also be brainwashed into thinking like people that want to brag with just regular fans. There are processes to things. There are also there's also how you measure success, and I've said this time and time over at on this show that trophies do not necessarily measure progress for teams. There are different teams that have their different measurement of what success should be. For Levy, this is unacceptable for a team like Tottenham, and it might also have been
what is unacceptable, the league finish.
Yes, it might also have been a 10-year plan.
Imagine Levy saying your league finish is not acceptable for you.
Let's say in our 10-year plan, we are starting to challenge for a place going back to the Champions League, and then in the 5th season you tell me because you win a trophy you are allowed to finish 15th,
17th.
So 17th.
But he qualified for the Champions League, man.
So
it's not just a trophy. It's your first major trophy.
That's what I'm saying. I can understand.
And also took you to the Champions League.
It's enough to give me at least one.
Yeah, leverage. That's my own point. I'm trying to balance this on the other side.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was also against the fact that United fans were hoping that one game changes the reality of their season. So imagine as a CEO of a company, you've had meeting all through the season about how bad this coach has been performing, and then you now expect us to change whatever decision that might have even have been made probably halfway into the season, because he eventually ended up with the Europa Trophy that was probably just one game or a couple of games. So there are indicators of how our season had gone, probably the things we've lost during the season, the kind of performances we've had, so many issues that have probably been against Ange, and at the end of the day it was not his vote. Probably there might be some people, like just as we are right now, I feel like processes are not enough. You might have feel like trophy are enough, and then there's like more voices that feel like a club like our club, with the amount that we've invested in our stadium in the last couple of years, the amount we've invested in buying players, we've provided you with this, we've provided you with that. You can't show an Europa League trophy. Fine, we are cool with that, but you can't be finishing 17th as a Tottenham FC, and they are justified for it. You guys are justified what you have said, that it might be enough to give him an extra season. At Arsenal, it might be enough. Ateta finished 8th twice. It might be enough. At Manchester United, it might be enough to give Amorim. But for Tottenham, it might also
I
not
mean,
be
so it's
enough.
enough to give.
You understand?
They didn't finish this poorly 2 seasons ago, but them winning the FA Cup changed the narrative and kept Ten Hag at his job.
Yeah, so
for even Andrew Postecoglou, I think he already knew that the trophy was not going to save him. I remember one of his pressers where he said he remembered Ten Hag winning 2 trophies in the last 3 years, and he said, I think the journalist asked him, and he was like, do you think if you win a trophy you would keep your job? Because at that point they were already performing so poorly, and he said he doesn't think so. That a manager, he was referring to Eric Ten Hag, won 2 trophies in 3 seasons and was let's go. So I think he's going to understand that. I mean, myself, I don't try, but
I think they've also saved his blushes, because while in the euphoria of the moment, or while they were having their trophy parade, he also said in his 3rd season he's going to be back there, and I'm like, boy, because that one worked. Next year we'll be back here.
So Nicolo, from what you said on trophies, it clearly means you didn't agree with Thierry's recent comment about Arteta, that United have been in finals in the last 5-6 years, but Arsenal have not been in any. United have been winning trophies and stuff like that.
That's what Thierry, Paul Scholes and the likes of Kane will also swap. They will also swap United for Arsenal's trophyless season. So
I just wanted to
so you understand. It's like a two-way thing. I also feel like if you are getting to 2 semi-finals in a season and you don't get to a final, it's quite embarrassing for Mikel Arteta. Got to the semi-finals of the Carabao to Newcastle, got to the semi-finals of the Champions League. I feel like there's something missing. There's something extra that you should be doing. You don't get to 2 semi-finals and not make the final. That is a very poor one for Mikel Arteta, but that doesn't translate to the whole project as a whole, because if you look closely, he's done fantastic well for the club. But for this season, you might also give him the stick by saying you got to 2 semi-finals. How on earth are you not getting to the final or even winning something?
Okay, before we wrap it up on our final note, I want to touch light on what happened after that game between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and, of course, the boys of Russia. Where after the game, which ended 1-0, and of course Nigeria coming back into that game with a goal by substitute Tolu Arokodare.
If you play PS2, you understand the meaning of that goal.
Yeah, true.
Mad placing.
And I mean, after the game, the focus was supposed to be about retesting new players, trying out new players in different positions, of course, because the major players in those positions were not invited, they were arrested. I mean, we got to see new trials, new players. We got to see the likes and the flashes that we could get from a player like Uche, and of course other players too. But that was overshadowed by what happened just after the game. I think like 2 to 3 minutes after the game, and then everywhere was on fire because Victor Boniface posted on his Instagram what looked to be like him retiring for the national team. Took it down later on, and of course made it look as if, or that was what he intended, made it look as if it was a joke, and a lot of people could not place if it was a joke or not. For my question is for Timothy, do you think this is him trying to like play the victim card, saying that someone who came later on in the national team has gotten his first international goal, and if I was even him that was substituted for, it was a direct substitution, Tolu for Boniface, but Tolu came in and got his first international goal. Do you think that him trying to play the victim card, or do you think that it is still him just trying to play? We know he plays a lot, he does a lot of clownery things on social media. I
mean, whether that was cruise, whether that was joke, whether that was real, I think Victor Boniface was trying to play the victim card, and that was, to me personally, it was something I did not like. And then I saw posts from a couple of colleagues where they were trying to say stuff like, stay strong Boniface, you'll be back. I mean, stay strong for what? I don't know. You are playing football for your national team. Boniface has not done anything for Nigeria, and he has not faced half of criticism of what Nigerians have given to the likes of Alex Iwobi. He Igalo has done a lot of things for this country. I mean, we saw what happened. I think it was the World Cup where it was shredded, where he had to close down his page and all that. He did not come out to say, I'm retiring.
He came 2019 and went on to be the highest goal scorer in that AFCON.
Yeah. So Boniface coming out to play victim with that post, whether it was Cruz, I still think it was a case of him trying to play victim. You have not done well for your national team. You have been given chances time and time enough. This was like the opportunity for you to take it. But we could see what he was doing on the pitch. Tolu came in and we saw what you were trying to do. And I had this conversation with Kaijaya, our producer, also, where I was telling him, he was trying to make a case for him, where he was saying that, oh, maybe the system is kind of affecting him, the way the players don't maybe cross the ball, the midfielders don't. No, this is not the case for Boniface. You have been given a chance. I mean, remember under Finidi, make Onuachu, after he played the first game, was he against Benin Republic, where the second game he had to start Onuachu. I don't know if Emmanuel can remember that game, but I remember Onuachu started ahead of Boniface. So you have been given chances and you have fluffed it. What you could have done after the game was just stay. Nobody has said they are not calling you up. No manager has talked trash to you. Whatever has happened is what would always happen with fans. As a footballer, we have seen a player score a trick and fans are still coming at the players. It happens with every player. There will always be that criticism from fans. If you cannot take it, you can stay off social media. But you coming out to say you're retiring, it was one thing. I mean, I think it was a case of, let's form pity. And immediately you saw it from people pitying out to stay strong. Stay strong for what? No, stay strong for what? For him breaking a leg and okay, maybe him leaving the pitch or what? I don't understand. What is Boniface staying strong for?
The one thing people need to understand with national team football is you don't have much time as you have with club football because there are so many footballers jostling for a particular position. Once you get your opportunity, you take it. That's what Osimhen did. He immediately got his first opportunity with the national team. He grabbed it with both hands, and now even the strikers department in the national team are admitting that he's the number one. They know he's the number one. That's how he took the opportunity earlier on. He grabbed it. I don't think Boniface has done that. I mean, that post was just too soon. Whether you call it a cruise or not, it was not too long after the game.
It wasn't up to 5 minutes. It wasn't up to 5 minutes. So my own head, I'm like, okay, these people are just entering into the dressing room because I'm sure you're on the bench. Go in and then the first thing you're tweeting.
Where you've grabbed your phone,
you knew what was coming on Twitter or whatever, so he quickly try to play victim.
But he needs a lot of talking to. I mean, like most of his posts, and personally for me, even to see person they abbreviate for social media, so if they bite people, no, this is just me personally, randomly. If I see all those abbreviating, I find it very weird when you do it on social media. So talk more of a professional football and stuff like that. So all those things personally, I find it kind of bemusing for me. But he needs a lot of talking to, and I don't think he's grabbed opportunities with both hands when it comes to the national team. And it's sad to see. This is a guy I watched at Bodo Glimt to USG and now to Bayer Leverkusen. He was the talk of the town, doing so well for these clubs. But when it comes to the national team, it tells you he's a different ballgame entirely.
Would you agree with the school of thought that Boniface has not been probably given that real chance?
He's had over 10 caps.
He's had chances.
He's been given opportunities.
I mean, he gets. In fact, I think that's for certain games that Nigeria play. I always feel like there are games in which he's not supposed to start with Osimhen, but because they're trying to give him a chance, they're also trying to give him someone who is a motivator on the pitch. That with Osimhen, like, they should be able to do something. When you see Osimhen scoring, Osimhen will score.
The game he won't score. I have a school of thought. The game we considered late, I think, was where Osimhen went out for Victor Boniface. I felt like Osimhen thought we already had that in the bag, and he intentionally wanted to go out. I saw like the body language of wanting to make sure Victor Boniface gets, because that was the second game of that transfer of that international break. We already played with Rwanda, I think, and then we were supposed to play against Zimbabwe, and then Osimhen just tried he could no longer continue. If we didn't have sub again, Osimhen would have continued that game, and then he brought in Boniface. I just feel like he has not grabbed the opportunity with both hands, and just like I said with what you were saying with Kalejai earlier as well, I just feel there's nothing like a system. You are playing as a number 9. There are responsibilities that are expected of a number 9 that you are not capable of doing for the Super Eagles, and you've not been doing that. So it's nobody's fault that you've not been able to translate. I feel like he's a very good player. I'm not going extreme negative because for Nigeria, like say if we don't go extreme positive, it's to go extreme negative. So I'm not going the extreme negative of get talent or whatever it is that babe said, or whatever it is that people are not trying to justify on that one. I feel like he's a very talented player. He's done so much for himself in his career. I just feel like when it comes to the Super Eagles, he's not done enough. And just like what I said to Kalejaya as well, I feel like even when Boniface is on the field of play, I don't think the players trust him enough to even bury the chances that we're creating, especially when we are behind. He only gets to get much of the ball probably when we are ahead, or they feel like, okay, just give him the ball. Because I feel like that nature of him off the pitch also translates to the way he plays sometimes on the field of play. He wants to play a defensive striker kind of thing. That's not what was coming to my head. But I just feel like he plays the Emile Smith-Rowe kind of play, the Jack Wilshere type of way, and that's not what a striker should be deadly in front of goal. And I feel like if I'm chasing a game and I need to score, I would rather Tolu Arokodare is up front than a Victor Boniface, because I know that Tolu is also similar in profile, build, physicality and all of that. Also, yes, these are strikers that will always also for the ball. Boniface wants everything to his feet, try to maybe create and play off somebody. So, and that's not the style that we play in the Super Eagles. We don't play off anybody. As a striker, you have to be the alpha and omega of goal scoring. You are either struggling for the ball or being at the end of the crosses and all of the passes and bury the ball. So you just want to control and pass for somebody to go and score, and I feel like that has worked for him in his club sides, but he's not going to be able to get that in the Super Eagles. And until he's able to put that energy, that effort, and that physicality into his game, Nigeria we are playing African football. We are hustlers. Do you understand? So if you want to play football and succeed with the Super Eagles, you have to be a hustler. Even those where they are born for abroad, them Ademola Lookman, they knock them well, they play solid football.
And that position, that number 9, the options are all hustlers. Sadiq Kumar might not be doing so well recently, but if you watch him, he's a hustler, number 9. So Boniface he has his work cut out.
Having to even come and make the post, it's not like you have done so well for us in the Super Eagles that will now say, Boniface won't retire, we go miss this guy.
Even if he won't retire, so no be so you go do him.
I feel like it was crucial, but I just feel like it was unnecessary.
Okay, talking about necessary, it's necessary that we actually leave the floor right now, as this will be the final thing we'll do on the show today. Thank you so much for riding with us. Of course, we're not able to do so much in transfers because I know that Osimhen is in the news and all of that, but we'll do that because the transfer window is still open for now, before they'll close it because of the Club World Cup, and then we'll resume again. So we'll get to talk about it. Osimhen did not actually agree to go to Al Hilal, to go to Saudi Arabia, and that means he's still out in the market. So yes, of course, we'll get time to talk about Osimhen. I'll get time to talk about you. So thank you so much.
I'll talk to Shola Akinlade. Probably we can have him at Sporting Lagos.
No, interesting to see. Of course. So yes, looking forward to getting to talk to you guys next week. Thank you so much to everyone who has been spreading the word. I mean, I see you guys. We see you guys in the comment section on social media, where you get to talk about what we do right here. We do not take all of that for granted. Thank you so much. My name is still Euphoria, and I'll catch you in the next episode of The Gliders. Bye bye.